as good as the Samsung S8 or the S9 Plus, so it isn't truly infinity display. Now at the bottom over here we have some IMEI numbers and some other codes, and on the back we have some highlighting features like the infinity display, dual camera setup, some specifications which I'll come back to in a minute. But here's something interesting. It says make for India. I can understand made in India or made for India, but what does this make for India? Anyway, it also says duos and secured by Knox. And on this side we have the pricing and some other information like the box contents, and at the top Indian SIM card, and that's all it says. On the left side it is completely blank. So guys, now let's get on with the unboxing. This phone is available both online and offline only in one variant, priced at 19,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. It is available in 3 colors, blue, black and gold. Right now only the black color is available, at least online. So guys, at the front we have the phone. Let me just put that aside for now. Next we have some documentation. So first we have the quick start guide, followed by one in Hindi, warranty card, support Indian official languages, and this here is the SAR information. So this is the SAR value of the Samsung J8, just in case if you're concerned. Finally we have the regional log guide. Now these are all the documentation we get. Next we have the SIM card ejector, some old style earphones with an inline mic. I'm definitely not going to test this. Next we have a micro USB charging cable, and finally a 7 watts power adapter. Now let me just put all these things aside and let's come back to the phone. So this is the plastic wrapping. Let me just slide the phone off. So guys, this is the Samsung Galaxy J8. Now this is how it looks on the back. It comes with this sticker with the same old IMEI numbers and a sticker for the camera module. It also comes with a lot of stickers for the edges. Let me just remove all of them. Now let's have a quick physical overview and then check out the specs. On the back this phone has a plastic build with a nice metal matte finish but without any anti-fingerprint coating, so the smudges are easily visible. Now at the top it is a dual camera setup with a 16 megapixel primary camera with f1.7 aperture. Following that is a 5 megapixel secondary camera with f1.9 aperture and a single LED flash. Following that is the fingerprint scanner and Samsung branding. On the front it has a massive 6-inch Super AMOLED display with HD Plus resolution and the new 18:5:9 aspect ratio. Basically smaller bezels at the top and bottom, just like the Samsung J6. Now above the display, it has a 16 megapixel front-facing camera with f1.9 aperture with a dedicated LED flash, earpiece and some sensors. At the bottom, it is completely plain. We have on-screen buttons instead. On the right side, we have the speaker grill and the power button, and on the left side, we have the volume buttons along with 2 SIM card trays. Now these are the SIM card trays. They can house 2 nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. So if 64GB of storage is not sufficient for you, you can pop in an SD card and add more storage to this phone. At the bottom, it is just the micro USB charging port and the 3.5mm audio jack. At the top, it is completely plain. Under the hood, it sports a Snapdragon 450 processor with Adreno 506 GPU, 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage with a 3500 mAh battery. It has a thickness of 8.2mm and weighs 191 grams. So guys, those were the specifications. Now let's turn on the phone and see what we get right out of the box. So guys, out of the 64GB of storage, you get about 50GB for your user apps and user data. Out of that 4GB of RAM, you get about 1.9GB of free RAM right out of the box. Let me just try to clear the RAM and see how much we get. So after clearing the RAM, we get about 2.1GB of free RAM. So that's what we get right out of the box without any apps running in the background. Now this is the about phone. Let's check out the software information. Now this one is running Samsung Experience version 9.0 based on Android version 8.0.0, that's Oreo. Now this is still based on April security patch, which is kinda late. Now this is the camera interface. We can swipe left or right to change between different modes. Looks exactly like the Samsung J6, but with an additional live focus mode for the rear camera. This is for portrait shots, and you can adjust the slider to change the amount of background blur effect we want. Now this is the front facing camera, and once again we have the selfie focus, which is the portrait selfie mode. Now we still have stickers just like the Samsung J6. These are the stickers. Now we also have the wide selfie mode. Now these are some sample pictures taken using the front and rear cameras. Now these are the applications that come pre-installed. Now there isn't a lot of bloatware on this phone, but they do have some pre-installed apps that you might never use, like all these Microsoft applications, some of the Google applications over here, and the Samsung Suite. Now if you swipe from the bottom, we still get the Samsung Pay Mini, which is a stripped down version of the Samsung Pay, which is actually pretty good, but you can only use it on their flagship phones. Next, on the left side, we still have the Bixby Home. And if you want to disable it, just do a pin gesture and disable it over here. By the way, in the camera application, we have a dedicated button for the Bixby Vision. So when you click this button over here, it will open Samsung Mall and then use the camera to detect things and show you option to buy it online. So that's how it works. Now these are the sensors this phone comes with. It has just the proximity, accelerometer, and significant motion. I don't know what that is. So basically it doesn't have a gyroscope, not even ambient sensor. So you don't have auto brightness for this phone. You can't watch 360-degree videos on this phone. Even if you watch it, it'll be pretty horrible because this phone has just a HD display, but you don't even get the sensor. There is no magnetometer either, so you can't even use compass on this phone. Now I'll add my fingerprint and facial data and see how fast it is. So for that, let's go to settings, biometrics and security, fingerprint scanner, now I'll even add my facial data. First, let's see the fingerprint scanner. So guys, fingerprint scanner on this phone is fast, but not super fast like the Oppo or Vivo phones. It is as fast as the Redmi Note 5, Note 5 Pro and the regular phones. Now let's see how the face unlock works. So in good lighting conditions, it is fast, but it still takes like a second. And it is slower than the fingerprint scanner. So it's better to go with the fingerprint scanner instead. This is just more like a fancy feature to show off, not something you can use daily. Now let me just turn off the lights and see if it works.